Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Look at that, grayish.
What's up?
Now, let me ask you, at what point did you know you were going to have the freedom to go full gore with this movie?
I wrote the screenplay. So when I signed on to do the Suicide Squad, I didn't want to sign on to write and direct. I just wanted to sign on to write. Because too many times I take on stuff, too deep in advance, and I don't feel like doing it when I get to it. So I said, I'll write the movie. If at the end of that, I feel like directing it, then I'll direct it. And so I wrote the movie. Everybody liked the screenplay. I wrote it as rated R. I didn't want to be doing a war movie that didn't have people squibs and people getting shot. I wanted to make it look somewhat real and keep the thing grounded. And that was a part of what the screenplay was to me. And so when they said they wanted to make the movie and they wanted me to direct, I said, I have two requirements. If that's the case, the number one is that it's got to be rated R. And number two is I got to shoot in Georgia because I wanted to be near my dad who was dying at the time. And they wanted to shoot in the UK, but they agreed to both of those terms. And that's how the Suicide Squad was born.
People that know your background, some of them have said, oh, he's going back to his trauma days with this, for those who know your background,
right.
And then, there are two things. Obviously, you brought back Rick Flag, and Viola. Viola, we knew were coming back. But then they're bringing him back, Rick Flag. He's like the hall monitor, because he gets to carry, he's been with as many actors on both films, And then there's Peacemaker, who you're going to be you've worked with already with the series. So you have a lot on your plate.
I'm so sorry, Wilson. Give him his extra time. Hey, stand up. Quick, there's somebody at the door. Sorry, guy. Wilson, I'm so sorry, man.
That's okay. All right. So can you talk about, knowing you were going to be working on Peacemaker with this and how you want to develop John Cena's interest in this before we see the HBO series?
Why did I want to do that, or why?
How did you want to work in his entrance as we see him now before we watch the series?
I didn't know I was going to do the series until after this movie was done. So I didn't really know I was going to do the series until after the movie was done, and he just interested me as a character because we get to know a lot about Bloodsport, we get to know a lot about Ratcatcher, we get to know a lot about Harley. But we don't get to really delve into what makes this douchebag. And I knew John. I started to see the hints of him being able to do something really deep and really dramatic that we only get hints of in this movie. And I wanted to create something around that entirely. I also think that Peacemaker is a lot of people in America today. He looks at things in a certain way. And his politics are very different from mine. And so I wanted to make that a part of a big DC science fiction TV show. And so he meets Danielle Brooks' character, who is his polar opposite in every way. And it's a lot about their relationship and his relationship with Amelia Harcourt and John Economos, who are from the movie.
Having done Guardians and doing this one, and you're dealing with all these characters, how good are your memory skills in terms of knowing all of their backgrounds, the character backgrounds?
I'm pretty good with that. I'm an enormous comic book fan, so I know a lot about comic books. And then, when I create a story for a character, I remember that as well. So I have a pretty good memory about people that aren't real. Having memories about my actual friends are a little more difficult. But when you're talking about comic book characters, I seem to remember everything.
I think people get a laugh at watching this. Obviously they saw the first one. They want to continue with this. It's glad to see you're doing this and you're working on other projects. I can't wait to see what you got down the road. And if there's a follow-up to this, if you'll come back to it. But either way, people love your writing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Take care.